Welcome to Rock Solid, the Round Rock Business Leaders Podcast. Join your host, Bryan Eisenberg, as he explores the journeys of entrepreneurs and companies across Round Rock, Texas. From startups and nonprofits to large organizations, each guest shares their passion for doing business in this thriving community. Let's dive in.
Welcome to Rock Solid. I'm Bryan Eisenberg, and I'm here with Stacie Feller, who actually have a couple of businesses in town. You're actually involved in a number of projects, and I kind of want to explore all of it because you're not originally from here, but made your way here.
Yep.
So let's talk about what got you to the Round Rock and Williamson County area, because I know it's been a little bit all over.
Yep. So originally from down by the Gulf, so a little town called Silsbee down by Beaumont, and went to school in Nacogdoches at Stephen F. Austin. And then my first husband was in the military, and his last duty station was Fort Polk. And at Fort Polk, there's only a couple of businesses there, and one of them was an insurance company. Mm-hmm. So I went to work in the insurance industry. Yep. That was back in the mid-'90s. And worked there for 7 years, and then got an opportunity and was recruited over to work for Texas Mutual, which is the state's largest workers' comp carrier out of Austin. So we moved our family to Round Rock at the time in 2001, and I began my career at Texas Mutual. I stayed there for 15 years. So we've always been in the Round Rock area. We were in Hutto for many years also, so we kind of stayed in Williamson County area. And then, but after 15 years with Texas Mutual, I had since my first husband passed away, and a few years later I met Scott, and we got married. At the time, he was a one-man show doing roofing, and I was corporate. And so when we got married, I said, have you ever thought about growing this thing? And,
you showed him a better way.
Well, and he was like, no, I don't like managing people. And I'm like, well, but that's kind of what I do all day long. And so we started on this journey. And so we started growing the business. I worked at nights with him while I still went to work at corporate during the day. And that's kind of how we got started. But we've always stayed in this Round Rock Central area.
Yeah, now you've got a beautiful office. Let's talk about that office, and let's talk specifically about the two businesses as well.
Absolutely. So yes, we have an office on Sandbass Road, and we moved to there in 2017. It is Scott's pride and joy. When we purchased it, it was formerly a La Petite daycare, and it had been vacant for several years. And so we purchased it, and he gutted it, and we remodeled it, and it's a beautiful office. We joke, a lot of us that work there are 5 feet tall or shorter. And when we renovated it, we had to get rid of like 20 toilets that were like really low altogether for the daycare.
Really petite.
Really petite.
Yes.
Yeah. And so we were like, the water fountains were like our perfect size. But so we're off of Sandbass Road, and we now are one of the largest roofers for residential roofing in this Central Texas area. So we do specialize in residential roofing. But we also have Koala Cooling, which is an HVAC and plumbing operation that's just down on Chisholm Trail, not far from our Sandbass office.
Now let's talk about this, local roofing, because if you've been in the area for a while, you've seen storms come through, and you get, especially our good friend Bill will tell you, people who chase the storms.
Yes.
Why is it so important to look for someone who's a local roofer?
Well, that's one of the things that whenever I left my corporate job in 2016, started working with Scott full-time, and we joined a home services best practices group. And one of the things that we learned working with them is about your branding. And about how important that was, because most people don't. A roof is not something you buy all the time. And so it's a once, maybe twice in your lifetime purchase. So it's important that people remember who you are. And I'm getting somewhere with this whole local thing. And so Scott had a great reputation. He had great 5-star reviews. Everybody loved him. If you've worked with Scott before, he's the most easiest going guy to work with. And what we found out is that if you ran into him later, they would remember him. They remember he did a great job, but they couldn't remember the name of the company to refer to their neighbor. Yep. We were Feller Roofing. And if you think about it, most all roofers are a last name with roofing. So we rebranded at that time to Kanga Roof.
Yep.
And part of it was we wanted to be memorable because we wanted local folks to know who we were, to be able to come to a safe place of people that were going to take care of you. In our industry, and especially in where we are in the Austin area and in Williamson County, there's no barrier to entry for this industry. Scott likes to joke that there's really three things you need to be a roofer. You need a hammer, you need a ladder, and you need a truck. And you can borrow all three of those from somebody. Nowhere did he say that you needed to know how to roof.
Yeah.
There's no license requirement. There's no insurance requirement. There's no state agency, no oversight, nothing. And so, I mean, you're talking about $30,000 product, which is kind of crazy. So what happens in this industry is because we have such a low barrier to entry here, when hailstorms come in, people come from all over the country that need work.
Yep.
Some are good people, okay? Some not so good. Okay. And the issue becomes they come knock on your door. Hey, let me take a look, see if you have hail damage. Yes, you do. File an insurance claim. Let me have the money. I'll come back and do your roof. And they may come back and do your roof. Great. What happens, though, is about 25,000 nails that come off your roof and go back on your roof. Any one of those could be overdriven, can be in sideways, there's a lot of different things that can happen. Okay. And over time, water may find their way to that nail. There may be a leak somewhere. And when that leak happens, you don't notice it immediately. You know, when you notice it by the time it starts staining your ceiling. You notice it when you start smelling some mold. You notice it then. And if someone from Oklahoma did your roof, you've got to go try to find them to come back and fix it. The chances of that happening is really slim to none.
Even if they get local numbers while they're here and all
local
that.
numbers. They get local numbers. They get a local one-person office. They get a lot of that. During the last hailstorm that was in September 2023, if you would have driven by any of the hotels, they're lined up with roofer trucks. And it's just, they swarm down to this area. And again, not all of them are bad people. I don't want to say that. The issue becomes later. You know, they may promise you a 20-year warranty, but if you can't find them on year 2, what is that warranty worth? And so that's why we preach it's so important to stay local. Not only can you find us here, I'm at the office all the time, but we're in the community. You can find us. We were just at the Round Rock Pie Foundation Gala. You know, you can find us out in the community. And so if you've got an issue, I'm not hiding.
You're not hiding. That's for sure not.
No, absolutely. If you've got any kind of problem, come see me. Give me a call. Actually, on every customer, whenever they set an appointment up with us, they get a return email that tells about their appointment, what to expect, here's what we're going to be looking for. But my personal cell phone number is on there, on every single one of them. If you've got a problem, my cell phone that I keep on with me all the time is right there. Give me a call. We'll fix it. We'll figure out what it is. Because we live here. We want to take care of the community. We want to, our first core value is to do the right thing. And I get that from my dad. He taught us girls growing up. He was a small business guy, is that you do things right, but you do the right thing. What he used to say is, you can rob a bank. You can do it right. There's a right way to rob a bank.
Yep.
Okay? But it's not the right thing to do. And so, when we get into issues with customers or concerns or somebody thinks we should have done something, I always look back at the team and go, what's the right thing to do? It's really what's the right thing to do. And so that's kind of what we live by. So, and the same with Koala Cooling. So Koala Cooling, it's got started, that was probably about 2017, 2018. Once I entered the roofing business, we ran it for about 6 months as a two-headed monster with both of us in that CEO role, and we kind of realized that Scott and I have two completely different skill sets.
Yep.
He is an entrepreneur at heart, and he is great at bootstrapping something and starting it from the beginning. I am not. I'm more of the scaler. And so at that time, he said, I'd like to go start an HVAC company. Great. So we bought a small HVAC company and rebranded it to Koala Cooling, and that's where it's been since then. So, matter of fact, our agreement was for the first 3 years of Koala Cooling, I was not able to touch it at all because I would have probably killed it.
Rock Solid is produced and recorded at Round Rock Studio. Located right here in Round Rock, our state-of-the-art studio is built for podcasters and creatives alike. We offer multiple professionally designed podcast sets, top-notch recording gear, and a full photography studio ready for any project. Whether you're launching a new podcast or upgrading your existing one, we can help with multi-camera recording, editing, and everything you need for success. Record with us at Round Rock Studio, your local podcasting partner.
I do want to come back to looking at that scaling in a moment.
Yeah.
But, I've been spending a lot of time around the trade industry for the last few years. And, the majority of the trade industry is still, especially at the CEO level, is male dominated.
Oh, absolutely.
And how do you fight it as a woman to stand up and show what you're doing and the incredible work you're doing in that industry?
One of the things is, it's always been in my mind, and I preach this to the staff too. We're in business. We happen to sell roofs, okay? But this is a business, and we have to treat it as a business. So, we have key performance indicators that we have to meet. We have management meetings. We have stuff. This is a business. And so with regard to it being a male-dominated world, there are more women coming up in the roofing industry,
Yes.
which I'm thrilled with.
All over the trades.
But part of it for me, I was a minority in the insurance industry too, so it's kind of always been that way. Part of my personality of not letting that bother me, I think, is a big thing that helps me. I never wanted to be treated differently because I was a woman, and so I don't think I can't expect them to treat me any differently if I want to be in that same room. Lines at bathrooms aren't very long at some of the conferences. I will tell you that. I was asked to be as part of it was like a contractor summit for one of our suppliers, and they've invited 20 of us throughout the country to North Carolina a couple of years ago, and I was the only female. And so it was, like I said, it was really nice. At break time, I was in and out of the bathroom in no time at all. But I still get challenged a lot on some of the things. But I will be the first to tell you that I know about roofing, but I am not a roofer.
Mm-hmm.
My husband is my technical advisor.
Yep. Okay.
I have roofers on staff that know what they're doing.
Yep.
Okay. So I don't try to pretend to be, so if a male wants to challenge me on what flashing to use here, whatever, I'm not going to get into that debate on you. Now, if you want to talk about, what percentage of your income you're spending on marketing, we can have that all day long. And what I find is they can't talk about those things. Yeah. And so it kind of goes back and forth. There's been a few times that I've kind of had to be a little bit more assertive, that I knew what I was talking about. I've had some challenges with suppliers in the very beginning. Mm-hmm. I was probably one of the few women they'd ever dealt with that actually made decisions in the roofing company. I had one supplier that simply didn't really want to listen or negotiate with me. And after about 3 tries, I said, okay, I'm making a good faith effort. And if you don't want to, that's okay. I've got 3 other suppliers who are begging for my business.
Yep.
So they since come back to the table. We're in a much better place now. But it's difficult. What helps me out also is very fortunate. I have a sister-in-law who's also in the business. So Scott's sister, Amy, was actually our first employee.
Okay. And
so the 3 of us, when we were really small, ran the company. And she's out of New Braunfels. So if you ever go through New Braunfels and you see roofer chicks, that's my sister-in-law.
Okay.
And she is a roofer. She's up there. Mm-hmm. She knows what she's doing. And she's got a female roofing crew. And so having friends in there that we're able to kind of talk through some of the issues that we have is really, really nice.
I want to go back now to this leadership and growing scaling, because obviously, a lot of listeners here, and we've got a lot of small businesses who maybe that one person shop, or maybe, it's a couple working together. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to figure out how to scale it. What's been your secret to growing this?
Okay. Especially for a husband and wife team, because Scott and I talked to a lot of husband and wife teams. Mm-hmm. The biggest thing that helped us out in the beginning is we sat down and we wrote out job duties. Mm-hmm. And it was based on what we were good at.
Yep.
And we stuck to those. Okay. So, for example, once I took over the president role, and I took over pricing. I took over those kind of things. We would have well, first of all, Scott and I share an office. And so when a sales guy would come in and say, hey, I'm looking at wanting to do this and I want to do this pricing here or like that, Scott, what do you think? Scott would look over and go, that's her decision to make.
Yep.
So, and a lot of times I didn't know the answer at the first. And so I'd say, you know what, so I'd get the information, let me have all the information, let me think about it, I'll get back with you. And then Scott, he'd teach me what I needed to know. But we had to draw a very clear line as to who was doing what. Because in a husband-wife team, when you start trying to scale, it's just like having kids. They play mama against daddy.
Yep.
And so that's one of the biggest things is know your roles, and you have to have the other one support them. And so, Scott's the marketing genius in our area. So he works with Ray with our branding. And so when somebody would come in and ask me a marketing question, or I would get an email from somebody wanting us to do some kind of a fundraiser or something, you got to talk to Scott. He's the one who takes care of that. So that's number one, knowing what you're good at. Number two, for me, is surrounding yourself with people that have a strong skill set in what you're not good at. I don't know if you've ever done the Strength Finders. Gallup has a big Strength Finders book. That was one of the first leadership books that I read when I first started with Texas Mutual and was starting to move into leadership. And I really loved the idea that it talked about, a lot of people say if you're not good at that, you need to go practice it 10,000 times. Just keep at it until you're good. Keep at it. And the theory is no, if you're not good at it, you're not good at it. Hire somebody to do that. And that's what we've done. I will tell you, when I learned that lesson and I got good people in to areas I wasn't strong in, it took off. I mean, the lady who is now my COO, Brenda Corrigan, she is phenomenal at the production department. And once I took my hands off of it and gave it to her, it has been night and day. And so that's one of the hard things I think as a leader is to say, I don't know it all. I know people listening to that will laugh at me to say, but there's a lot of things I'm not good at. And if I'm not good at it, I need to hire somebody who is good at it so I can do what I am good at. And I think as people try to scale, a lot of times they try to do it all.
Yeah.
And you really can't.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, you're very involved in the community, like you said. But I want to start first with the scholarship that you guys offer. So let's talk about that.
Okay. Well, we started that probably about 5, 6, 7 years ago. One of the things that we have, Scott and I have a bunch of kids mixed together. We have 7 as a big blended family. And only one of the 7 went to college, which is fine. We're in the trades. But what we noticed as they were going through their senior year is there was an incredible amount of pressure to take out student loans and to apply for college, even if they knew they weren't ready for college. And Scott and I are big Dave Ramsey fans, and so we did not want them taking out student loans. And but our agreement with our kids was that we would help them go to school and we would pay a portion. They had to pay a portion of it, and their portion had to be paid up front to us before the semester started.
Okay.
So they had a skin in the game. But what we found talking with their friends and stuff is it was, oh, no, the school, we're signing up for all these student loans. And we would look at these kids and go, they're not ready for college yet. Or they wanted to be in a trade. And there was nothing for folks in the trade. So we actually got involved with TSTC. And so we had a couple of friends that worked at TSTC, and we started working through them. And so we decided at that time to start offering $1,000 scholarships. We ended up in Hutto, Round Rock, Georgetown, and a couple of years in Pflugerville. And so we would give scholarships to kids that wanted to go to a trade school. We wanted it to be in the construction area. There's no roofing license. There's no roofing school to go to, so it didn't have to be in roofing, but it could be in HVAC. It could be in welding. There's several of them that we gave out that were going to be diesel mechanics. We had a couple of them that were going into like a construction management associate's degree. And so, so we started offering these scholarships, trying to promote kids going to trade schools. And
not everyone's meant for college.
No, and trade school's affordable. And if we're going to give you $1,000,
and there's shortages of people in the trades.
Absolutely. Last I heard, this been a couple of years ago, but it's like the average age of a roofer is like 50. Not roofer, plumber is like 58.
Yeah.
Do you know what that means in 10 years?
Yep.
In 10 years, there's not going to be any plumbers. And if we think plumbing is expensive now, wait till there is nobody. And that's when it's really going to be. So we want to do what we can to promote these young kids because these are good jobs.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you, they're hardworking folks. And but even like the folks that work for, I mean, they are good paying jobs. You're able to provide for your family, and you're able to make a good living at them. So it's something that's really near and dear to Scott's heart.
Let's talk about all the other things in the community that you do. You're involved. You show up places. Let's talk about some of the fun things that you're up to.
So one of the things that I love is I'm on the Hutto YMCA board, and so I love supporting the YMCA. Again, Scott and I have been big believers of the YMCA for many years. Many folks don't know, but gosh, when I met my first husband, he was a single dad, and he had 3 kids, and broke like a lot of single dads. We were young at the time, and which now my stepkids, but they went to the YMCA on a sliding scale assistance at the time, and I will never forget the impact that made on our family. Is that we were able to have the kids somewhere where we knew they were safe, they knew they were taken care of after school care, and when you can't afford it and you're worried about where your kids are going to be. Man, that's just one more thing to pile in on life, and so that's a really big one for us that we love raising money for and love helping out. The Round Rock Partners in Education Foundation, we love helping them out and being as part of them. The Round Rock Chamber, always enjoy being part of the chamber and working with other businesses in Round Rock. One of the things that I just love about Round Rock. And it's one of the reasons that we decided to make this kind of our hub. Yep. Because our business, for the roofing side and the HVAC side, we're Georgetown all the way to San Marcos and everywhere in between. But our hub is really Round Rock. And it's really because of the community. Mm-hmm. This community is very low to no drama. Yep. Even during election season.
There isn't a lot of clicks.
No. And I noticed that everybody seems to be trying to go to do the right thing. And so you just don't have the drama you see in some of the other communities. And it's just a nice pace. I love when we go to the Round Rock Chamber events and there's not infighting. Mm-hmm. There's not, it's just everybody's there to help promote everybody. And I can't tell you the amount of folks that I've met and I run into places and it's, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Same thing with the. I'm a member of PWOW, which is the Professional Women of Williamson County. We also just sponsored the International Women's Wilco Women's Luncheon. Kanga was one of the table sponsors there that we were thrilled to be part of, and so it's just such a great community to be part of. And I think that first awards for the women of Wilco was exactly what I was talking about. That was several chambers that got together and said, let's do something for Williamson County. And nobody was trying to upstage anybody to be the headliner. Nobody was trying to do it. It was all the chamber. We're all here together. We're all trying to do the same thing. Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to have a little fun.
Yeah.
You mentioned that the office is Scott's crown jewel, but you guys just built a new house. So which one takes over?
We did. So Scott has had a dream house in his head for 40 years. And if you know Scott, he's a great dreamer. He's also a fantastic designer. And so he spent about 3 or 4 years designing the house. And so he would probably say right now the house is his pride and joy. He's done an amazing job with it and is very proud with it. It's a beautiful home that really we for a long time as we were building it. I'm someone who I have no vision when it comes to design. And again, it's one of those things you just know what you just know what you're strong at. He would ask me, "What do you think if we put a wall over here? What do you think if the stairway goes over here?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay, works for me," And so, our whole house, I had, I think, a total of 4 requests. I wanted an office. I wanted a nice office so I could work from home, which I have. Yep. I wanted a fireplace because I'm from Texas and I love fireplaces in the wintertime, which I know he doesn't like because he's from Iowa and he says all it does is suck the air out of the house. But he gave me his other fireplace I wanted.
Compromise.
Okay, we compromised, yes. I did want a swimming pool, so we have a swimming pool. And the 4th one is I wanted a fold-down ironing board. I don't iron a lot.
Simple.
I don't iron a lot, but when I do, I don't want to go drag a big, so I have a fold-down ironing board. And so, those are my 4 requests, and the rest of it, you do what you want to do. I'm fine with whatever. Just let me go to work.
Let's talk about other crown jewels. What's yours and your family's favorite crown jewel in the area that might need a shout out?
Gosh, that's hard to pick. Yes, there's just so many.
Or one that really deserves a shout out.
What
That
it really
people don't know about it as much.
I'll be honest with you. So one of them is we have 5 grandchildren. 3 of them live in the area. 3 of them are up in Gerald, live in Gerald, so we get to see them quite a bit. And one of the places that I think a lot of people realize is Sweet Eat Farms out in the Hutto, Georgetown area. That is the most precious little place to take grandkids and just let them have a good time, do the petting zoo, doing all that kind of stuff. That's just one of the nicest right now. They've got the tulip farms going on. And so that's just the nicest little area. And it's kind of tucked away out there. So I don't think a lot of people know about it. But if you've got kids, it's a great place to go. Another one of my favorite things to do, though, is when Downtown Round Rock holds their Saturday market days down there it has really grown to be a nice little downtown area to be able to walk and shop and do all that little park in one area and then just kind of make your way around all of those things.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
If people want to learn more about you and your businesses, how can they find you?
Easiest place to find me is via email, which is Stacie@callkangaroof.com. Our website is callkangaroof.com. Or stop by our office. We're at Sam Bass. We're right across the street from the cemetery, so we always joke that we don't have noisy neighbors. And so, feel free to stop by and see us anytime. We're there. We have a full-size mascot, so if you've ever got anything, you've got an event that you want a mascot to come out to, we're happy to send our mascot out there and help promote whatever we can. We love raising money for the community because the community's been so good to us.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.